Hey guys, Proper English here, and today we're going to take a look at a puzzle that I'm calling my parkour lock. Basically, this is an order-sensitive combination lock that involves jumping across these pillars in the correct order to open the door at the end of the room. Now, when I jump on a correct pillar, you can see a light turns on that tells me I'm going in the correct direction, and if I finish this up, our door opens and we can walk right through. Now, there are a couple of cool features here. The first I just mentioned, these lamps up here. I thought that would be a nice little touch that allows people who haven't tried this before to figure things out without getting too frustrated. If you fall off, you end up in some water down here, so you don't lose any life. I mean, you could make this more dangerous where the fall actually hurts you, but I figured I'd throw some water down. Now, on the way back up, we've got these pressure plates, which reset the combination lock. So if you fall, you do have to start over. And if you jump on a pillar in an incorrect order, then everything resets as well. But there's a nice little feature so that even if you jump on a correct pillar, one of the correct pillars, but in the wrong order, the light lights up so that you can see that, well, this pillar was number 3. So you can try again and you have an idea of where you're supposed to go. And so today we're going to go through how this thing works and the basics for what you need to do to build this. The first thing we'll take a look at is the pillar design. This is something that I've seen floating around in a few places, and I thought this would be perfect for this puzzle. I actually planned to build this puzzle long before we got the redstone block and the comparator, and there was an old design that I was going to use, so you could build this prior to the snapshots. But I like this design because it's nice and compact. I can step on this pressure plate, it moves the pillar down, so now the redstone block is powering the output. And so when I jump off, this piston fires because we've created a bud by moving this redstone block down here, and the comparator updates the piston, pushes everything back up. And that's all there is to this. This is our input. So we've got these pillars extending through the floor. You can see them up here. They come all the way down here and go directly into the inputs for our combination lock. So let's take a look at this lock. This is an order-sensitive combination lock that I threw together specifically for this puzzle. If you guys have your own design that you'd prefer to use, feel free to substitute it in. There's no reason you have to stick with this one. Although I think I've done a few things a little bit differently in terms of how this does its order sensitivity. So if you're interested in learning how to build this and how it works, let me know in the comments, because I'm not going to go into detail with how it works today. I think combo locks are pretty common knowledge, but I'd be happy to do a tutorial if people are interested. And so the way I've set this up is I've got these pillar inputs feeding directly into the inputs for our combination lock. And so when I simulate jumping on the first pillar by pressing this button over here, we're going to send a signal into this first bit of our lock. And what happens is we turn off that line, it gets inverted over here, and we end up with a lamp turning on. And now if I come down here and I turn on all of these in the correct order, you can see that now all of these lines are off, and this last line gets sent over here to our doors and opens them up. Now, there are a couple of reset features here, so let's take a look at them. The first reset feature to take a look at is this pair of pressure plates over here. If you step on these, they send a signal down to the combination lock that resets everything, comes down this line right here, and this is our reset input. So if I press this button, everything will be reset. Now, you can also reset the lock by jumping on the wrong pillar. So, for example, this pillar is not hooked up to any of our main combo lock inputs. Instead, it feeds directly into the reset line. So I've added a bunch of extra pillars that are just wrong and will reset the lock if you step on them. Now, there's one more thing that I can do to make this a little bit more challenging. So let's try this out. What I've added here is a time limit for completing the puzzle. So now the player needs to jump across all of the inputs in the correct order before this pulse gets to this torch over here, because if this torch turns off, this guy turns on and it resets everything. But as you can see over here, if the player completes the course and turns this last line off, it allows this torch to turn on, and that holds this torch off for when this pulse gets here. So you stop the reset from happening and can walk through the door nice and easy. Let's see if I can do this. Let's start by testing this thing out. If I jump on this plate over here, we'll see a lamp turn on. But if I wait, the lamp will turn off on its own. That should be about 4 seconds. That's plenty of time to make it across. This should be pretty easy. And there we go. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.